Good evening, everyone, and welcome. At this time, I'll call this chamber to order. Will everyone please rise if you can? Join me as we pledge allegiance to our flag and our nation. Remain in place for a moment of personal reflection. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
It's been a long time since I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My first mistake.
Nothing was done on purpose. Good. Township Clerk, will you please call roll and read our statement of adequate notice?
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilman Wendell.
Here.
Councilwoman Winston.
Here.
Councilwoman Zembicki.
Here.
And Council President McAvoy.
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen.
Here.
Administrator Joseph Cusculo.
Here.
And Township Attorney Joseph Plumpett.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975, by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and the Asbury Park Press newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Council, you have before you resolution number 25-217, adopting our meeting minutes from our June 9th, 2025 meeting. May I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Second. Is there a need for correction or clarification on these minutes? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Councilman Wendell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki.
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. Council, we have two proclamations this evening from the Mayor's office. Our first proclamation will be recognizing July as Parks and Recreation Month. I can think of no one more suited to offer this proclamation than Councilwoman Zembicki. Dr. Zembicki, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Excuse my back. We have our Park and Rec staff. Would you like to come up with this? Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So I'm honored to present this proclamation, and thank you, because Park and Recs is very dear to my heart, always has been, working very well with the East Brunswick Education Association and with the East Brunswick Public Schools, and we appreciate everything you do. So with that, whereas, oh, come over, come closer. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including East Brunswick. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near or enjoy our parks. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorder, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing a space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the United States has celebrated Parks and Recreation Month in July to recognize more than the 160,000 full-time park and recreation professionals, along with hundreds of thousands of part-time and seasonal workers and volunteers who maintain our country's local and state and community parks. Now therefore it be proclaimed that Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, and the Town Council do hereby recognize July as Parks and Recreation Months and express deep gratitude to Michael Reisner and all of these wonderful employees with me today and all the others, given under my hand and the Great Seal of the Township of East Brunswick this 23rd day of June, 2025. And I just want to say, you know, it disturbs me when there is some negativity expressed about our park and recreation, because I don't think there's any place in New Jersey that meets what you do. You all do so much for the community. It's endless. You can find something going on every single week in East Brunswick. And certainly the mayor highlighted the parks in his little Facebook expose that he did, right, which was awesome. There's just so much, and thank you. Thank you for being great role models to our youngsters through Youth Council, and also providing adult recreation as well. So we really appreciate it. So please say something.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Council President, Mayor Cohen, members of the Town Council. On behalf of Mike Reisner, the director of our department, my name is John. This is Ashley and Marissa, and we're here to say thank you for recognizing July as Parks and Recreation Month. This is the 40th year that Parks and Recreation Month has been declared nationally, and this year's theme is Build Together, Play Together. And truly, that is what East Brunswick Recreation and Parks is all about. Our department works hard to build programs, services, and special events that help to develop and sustain our community. Residents should know that our team, made up of 25 full-time employees and over 500 seasonal and part-time employees, engage with our residents in so many ways. Whether you're enjoying time in one of our parks, playing with your kids or walking the dog, reserving a picnic grove to celebrate a special occasion or birthday, calling in a tree request after a storm, learning a new skill in one of our programs, enjoying the sun at Crystal Springs, making summer memories in our day camp program, developing social skills at a social program with Adaptive Rec, or loving our town at EB Day or Winter Wonderland, you're interacting with our department. This summer, you're invited to participate in Brunswick the Bear Summer Bonanza. We've got a full slate of events going on all summer to help everyone in East Brunswick make some family memories right here in EB. We also want to invite you, in case you haven't already, download the EB Rec app. It's the best way to stay up to date with everything East Brunswick Recreation, available on the Google Play and Apple Store. And finally, at East Brunswick Parks and Rec, we are committed to enriching the quality of life of our residents by developing and providing affordable activities, programs, community resources, leisure opportunities, and public spaces. And so we thank you for the work that we do this month, and we hope to see each and every one of you and our residents in one of our parks or at one of our events very soon. Thank you.
Mayor Cohen, please.
I just wanted to, first of all, thank the council for recognizing and approving this resolution and recognition for the Parks and Recreation Department. And I know that you spent a lot of time describing some of the things. I know John described a lot of the things that they do. But I don't want anybody in the community thinking that we're just doing this to pat ourselves on the back. The three individuals that stood here tonight have all been recognized by professional organizations in their own field and have been given awards throughout the state. So this is something that the entire park and recreation community throughout the state has recognized our leaders, our department, and some of the programs that they do as really standout programs. So I really think that for a second we should all give them a round of applause because they're doing phenomenal stuff.
And Councilwoman Zambicki, all of the negative stuff that you're reading about, and I truly believe that it's not a lot, but there is negative stuff. The bottom line, people are jealous. That's the bottom line. You heard what the program offers. You heard about all the employees and the volunteers. And I know our athletes who are in front of us today, and their parents as well. Everyone's visited or done something in this township, and there's more to come. Any other comments from council? Okay. Next, we have our East Brunswick High School lacrosse player, Silas Vegas, and his litany of awards. Councilman Wendell, will you attend to this? Sure you can.
I want to invite all of the players and the coach up here
Okay.
to stand with
Got it,
Silas.
just give it a spin, sure.
Yep.
Guys,
Silas and teammates and
come on up.
Coach.
Stand behind Councilman Wendell, right here in the dais. Yeah. Keep coming.
you
Keep
can
coming.
just spread out amongst, Silas, you can stand here.
It makes for a nice photo.
This is for you. Listen, I have to say, having been involved in lacrosse in this town for many, many years, and, you know, having had a break while my boys were playing college, and then when they went onto their professional careers, I was actually ecstatic when both my boys and the opportunity came up for them to be lacrosse coaches at the high school, and to be able to go to the games and see these kids play and all the achievements, and to watch Silas, who was a lights-out goalie, you know, and I didn't even know all of these accomplishments that he's had, but tonight, you know, it was my idea to, you know, honor our student athletes, those that reach such high level, and I'm proud to be standing here next to Silas, having known him and his family since Silas was quite a young boy. But tonight we have a proclamation honoring Silas Bo Vega. Whereas Silas Vega began his lacrosse journey with the East Brunswick Blackhawks boys lacrosse program in the 3rd grade, where he quickly found his calling as a goalie, which, by the way, you have to be a little mental to be a goalie. A position he would dominate for the next decade with determination, leadership, and sportsmanship. And whereas Silas represented the East Brunswick Blackhawks with distinction as a 3-time CJYLL All-Star, and as a student in the East Brunswick High School, he earned a varsity letter as a freshman and never looked back, culminating in a stellar 4-year varsity career. Whereas Silas's high school lacrosse statistics reflect his excellence between the pipes, recording a remarkable 715 career saves. Probably the highest high school ever? Yeah. And steadily improving save percentages, reaching .661, which is off the charts, his senior year, with a career goals against average of 6.94, a testament to his relentless work ethic and elite goalkeeping skills. Whereas Silas's talent and sportsmanship earned him numerous accolades, including 2-time USA Lacrosse All-American, GMC Sports Award recipient, 3-time GMC First Team All-American, All-Conference, 2-time GMC First Team All-Red Division, 2-time GMC MVP, 2-time team captain, 3-time EBHS Defensive MVP, and 4-time varsity letter recipient. Whereas Silas demonstrated exceptional leadership beyond the field by serving as a liaison between the EB Blackhawks and EBHS Lacrosse, organizing youth clinics, off-season leagues, and community scrimmages, while also giving back as a goalie coach at Center Court Lacrosse High School program. And whereas Silas excelled as a scholar, maintaining a 3.985 GPA in a rigorous schedule of AP and honors courses, scoring 1360 on the SAT and earning college credits through the Middlesex County College dual enrollment program. Whereas Silas is also an accomplished musician, having performed at Carnegie Hall in 2023 with the EBHS Orchestra, reflecting his diverse talents and commitment to excellence in all pursuits. Whereas Silas will continue his academic and athletic journey at Wheaton College in Norton, Massachusetts, where he will study biochemistry as a member of the Honors College and compete in NCAA Division III men's lacrosse. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, and the Town Council do hereby recognize and commend Silas Vega for his outstanding achievements as a student athlete, leader, and role model, given under his hand and the Great Seal of the Township of East Brunswick this 23rd day of June in the year 2025. Congratulations. Not to put you on the spot, if you want to say something, say a few words.
I don't really have much to say about this, but I just want to give a big shout out and a thanks to Mr. Wendell and the rest of the board for an opportunity to get such a prestigious recognition. My teammates, most of them, that came out to show support, my past and my present and past coaches, and the support of not only my parents, but the rest of the parents of the EB lacrosse program. If it wasn't for the support of all you guys, I don't think I'd be here right now doing what I'm doing. Thank you.
This is yours. Before we sit down, you want to do?
How about a photo stop you want the council?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
going to bring the Town Council up here.
Mayor Cohen?
You guys, let's all get in here. We're going to get a photo taken. We do this all the time. It's not, you know. Squeeze in both sides, guys. Leave Silas in the middle and we'll. If anybody else wants to come up and take some pictures while we're standing here, have at it.
No flash photography, please. Mom and Dad, you want to get in the picture? Yes. Okay. And sister's coming up too. She's the most important.
How about mom? You know,
Aunts, uncles, next door neighbors.
the blonde hair all over them is something they did when they were in the GMC tournament? Yeah. Which, by the way, they kept in second in the GMCs. Except for Lakers on that. All right, congratulations.
Moms and dads and players, there's no need to return to your seats unless you want a lesson in governance, then you can stay here, so we'll take a...
Oh, boy.
Look how fast they're moving now.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
That's a good way to clear a room, Mr. Mack.
That narrows the crowd down. I'm just waiting until they all get out. Council, we have a presentation from Ms. Kate Keller from the LLC group of Phillips, Prius, Greigel, Lahani, and Hughes regarding the fourth round affordable housing element and fair share plan. Ms. Keller, the floor is yours.
Great. Good evening. Hi, everybody. Mayor, Council. So tonight we are here to discuss the township's adopted by the Planning Board fourth round housing element and fair share plan. I'm going to give a little bit of a background about the kind of how we got here, going back to the prior rounds of affordable housing, what kind of work we've done thus far on the fourth round, and what you're here to do tonight, which is essentially to endorse the plan just as part of the compliance process, and I'll explain what that means. Just no official action beyond that is being taken tonight. Nothing's being, no zoning amendments, nothing like that is being changed at this time. This is just an endorsement of the initial plan. So we will, I have a presentation that I've put together just to discuss. We're going to go through the introduction of why we're here and what the history is in the township and in New Jersey in general. We're going to go through the timeline that was set for the fourth round of compliance and the process there. How we determine the fourth round obligation number, and then finally the compliance strategy that's proposed for East Brunswick at this time. One thing that I think to keep in mind through this presentation is that this has been a very speedy process as organized by the state, and we are still in the middle of it. We have a plan that we've put together. There's going to be opportunities from either from challenges, from things that just change internally, to finesse the plan, to change things in the plan. So this is really just our initial proposed attempt at meeting this obligation. So just going through here, this is something, it's biggest topic around the state much of the time, especially once we're getting into these rounds like we are right now, the affordable housing, fourth round here. So just to give a brief history, the definition of affordable housing in New Jersey, and this is really taken from the national HUD and various ways of defining this, but it's a dwelling affordable to a moderate income household, a low income household, or a very low income household. And these are defined as percentages of the regional income limits, and we'll get to briefly what those regions are. So this is, it's a 3-county region that Middlesex County, East Brunswick is a part of, and so the affordability index is based on that. So that's just the initial definition there, so you know what we're talking about when we say affordable housing. And then the big question, why does East Brunswick, why does every municipality in the state have to provide affordable housing? And this goes back to 2 lawsuits that you've probably heard the name of, probably familiar with, Mount Laurel 1, 1975, and then subsequently what was called Mount Laurel 2 in 1983. The initial Mount Laurel decision, which these still stand, this is what forms the basis of the state's Fair Housing Act. The Mount Laurel 1 decision, the court determined that local zoning laws that excluded low-income families, whether that was only by providing single-family zoning, whether that was, not providing opportunity for multifamily or any other type of affordable housing, was exclusionary zoning and violated the state's constitution. Because it did not provide this realistic opportunity, and it was not equal protection in that sense. So all New Jersey municipalities must plan for, zone, and take affirmative actions to provide for the realistic opportunity for their fair share. And we'll talk a little bit about what those actions look like. That's things like inclusionary zoning, that's providing for units here and there. So that's really what the obligation is still. So then Mount Laurel 2 in 1983 reaffirmed this, and it established the concept of present need, which is the amount of units in the municipality that need to be rehabilitated, and the prospective need, which is new units that each town is obligated to construct in order to meet projections for low and moderate income housing. And Mount Laurel 2 also established what's known as the builder's remedy lawsuits. And I'll explain what that means shortly as well. But that's really provided a mechanism for builders, developers to litigate when a town was not in compliance with their affordable housing regulations. So Fair Housing Act 1985, the original one, codified these rules, and it created COA, the Council on Affordable Housing. And the goal of COA was that it was going to be an administrative agency that would develop the rules, develop the procedures, set the regulations for municipalities so that there would be a way that they knew they were following and they were satisfying the obligations. So that's where these housing regions for calculations of the need and income, et cetera, came into play. And it also created a process for reviewing and certifying that the need had been met. So COA was established in 1985. So this is one of the results of COA was the establishment of affordable housing regions. So they are based on 2 to 4 counties, typically 3 and 4 now, which exhibit social, economic, income similarities. Obviously, they're also geographically similar. And as seen here, East Brunswick is in Region 3 with Somerset and Hunterdon counties. So when we talk about the fair share that the East Brunswick has to provide, that's the fair share of this region's prospective need for affordable housing. It's not for the whole state because they understand that different counties, different regions have different needs. Like, for example, Deep South, Region 6, it has a different, different types of municipalities than Region 3. So the density, the economic status, things like that. So that's what the housing region is supposed to accomplish. And then here we have, going back to the Mount Laurel 2, what is a builder's remedy? And this is a term that is thrown around a lot, but this is basically what can potentially happen if a town does not comply with their affordable housing requirements. So, and this is a court-imposed site-specific relief where a litigant, that's typically a developer, files a lawsuit against the municipality, and the court typically, if there's no protections in place, will rule in favor of this developer. And what they may be permitted to build has nothing to do with the underlying zoning. It often doesn't have to do with the context of the site. It has to do almost exclusively with what the housing need is determined to be. So this is something you want to avoid. It's difficult, costly, and they're often successful, developers are, because if you're subject to this type of lawsuit, it means that you did not comply with COA. Or with the affordable housing rounds. We are not at risk of this right now. I'll explain to this why and how this all factors into the 4th round. But the number one rule here is that it's always in a municipality's best interest to avoid this because you can essentially lose control of your zoning. So here is just history of COA, the prior rounds, affordable housing rounds, and how East Brunswick has complied. First round, consent order was in place 1984. That took the township through 1996. Second round, 1994, 1999, township was granted substantive certification that they had met their requirements in 1997. Third round, 1999 to 2025. This was the last round, and this is where things got a little complicated. Essentially, the last rules for COA were adopted in the 90s, and they were supposed to be updated at various points. They were delayed, then they were invalidated, and the rules were not adopted. So COA was not very functional or functional at all from approximately the late 90s, around 2000 to 2015. And at that point, the state and the judiciary found that they were non-functioning and returned that back to the courts. And that was the process the last round. It was chaotic. It was sort of ad hoc. There was a lot of things that were constantly changing and moving at that time. And the idea was, it was a scramble for a lot of municipalities. There are towns, that are just this year or have not even yet substantively certified their 3rd round. So it was very complicated, and the idea of the recently adopted 2024 amended Fair Housing Act was to change that, was to make sure that the rules were clearer and expediently put into place. So for the 3rd round, East Brunswick did reach a settlement agreement, adopted the Fair Share Housing Plan, and were granted judgment of compliance 2016. So 4th round, 2025, 2035, this is where we are. And this is what was set into place by the law that was passed last year. So 4th round, we're moving ahead, timeline and the process. So I'm just going to go over what the baseline is for the 4th round and the work that we, the professionals, the elected officials, what we've been doing to make sure that the township is compliant. So amended Fair Housing Act, this was the law that was adopted last year, March 2024. It was intended to provide a framework for all of this, for the eliminated COA, prohibited COA really from coming back, and it provided some clarity on methodology and calculations. And for our purposes, what we're going to talk about tonight is that it created a method of challenging, of certifying called the Affordable Housing Dispute Resolution Program. This is a program within the judiciary. It's operated by the administrative office of the courts in Trenton, and it has mediation from via retired judges that throughout the state. And then for each county, there is a Mount Laurel judge who signs off on everything. And I'll go through how we dealt with that earlier this year. It also established timelines and required deadlines in order for municipalities to retain their immunity against those builder's remedy lawsuits. And then one thing, that was a change policy-wise from the prior rounds was that the legislation was specifically encouraged, redevelopment of properties, specifically commercial, office, retail, underperforming properties. It recommended or supported family housing, which really just means anything that's available to a family with children. It can be a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and supportive and special needs housing provision in municipalities. So those are all, just examples of compliance mechanisms that we're going to be using in this round. So this is just, a lot of information here, but this is sort of the calendar that we've been working off of, and you'll see that this starts, everything in purple is dates that we've already hit. The light green is where we are today, and then we have the future. So October, the DCA, Department of Community Affairs, initially issued the municipal obligations. January 2025, the township adopted our obligation, and I'll go into detail about how that was done. Challenges took place in February. We went to the settlement and went through the Affordable Housing Dispute Resolution Program in March and April. And by June 30th, as long as municipalities adopt and endorse the housing element and fair share plan, they are immune from builder's remedy lawsuits. So we are on track for that. The future, we'll see how this is where things are going to be subject to change, but there's going to be challenges, which we anticipate in all municipalities, not just East Brunswick. Anywhere can be challenged over the summer. Resolution by the end of the year, and then final adoption of the implementing ordinances is scheduled to take place by March 2026. So that's another 9 months ahead of this, where things are, I think we're confident in our plan, but there's also going to be subject to change. So here's where we are now, and just to go through prior round, I'm not going to go through this in detail, but this was a required component of the 4th round plan. We had to look at and just recertify really that we did comply with these previous rounds. So this was the earliest, 87 to 99, or this was the second round, 648 units. The township created 735, carried over 87 to the 3rd round. 3rd round, because this was such a large period of time, the obligation was 1067 units as a result of the settlement agreement. And the township's been really successful with this. Either a total of 994 units have been approved or constructed, and the remaining 73 that are left between that and 1067, we believe are still valid and developable for future affordable housing, so we will not be making changes to those, and I'll go through that later. And finally, and this is some good news, is that on top of that 1,067, there was an additional 63 credits that the township realized above the 3rd round obligation that can be carried forward to the 4th round. So that's just the background there. And this is the chart of the 3rd round. This is just sort of for reference. We need to come back to it. But again, this was things that were required for the plan. So determining the 4th round obligation. I'm going to go through how we arrived at the number that we have to provide, which is 296, and where we started, what the process was in order to get there. And then finally, we're going to talk about how we were proposing to comply with it. So as mentioned in that time schedule chart that I had up there, in October, DCA issued their non-binding 4th round municipal obligation numbers. And this was a big old spreadsheet and a big old PDF full of methodology that talked about, basically they crunched a bunch of census data, they crunched tax data, they did a review of land use and development in order to get these numbers. And in East Brunswick, the present need which is the rehabilitation of a unit's obligation, was 170. And the prospective need, which is the new construction obligation, was at 314. So prospective need is the big number to focus on here. And this is the share of the regional need. So again, going back to Region 3, Middlesex, Hunterdon, Somerset, based on DCA's projections, The estimate was that over the 10-year fourth round period, that region would require 11,604 units. So East Brunswick's share of that was calculated to be 314 based on a combination of factors. One is the equalized non-residential value. That basically has to do with your commercial land use value. It's a way of measure. It's sort of meant to be an equivalent for jobs in a community. And that's just based really on the tax rolls. So we didn't have, no issue. We took no issue with their calculation there. The next is income capacity, which is a measure of the median income in your municipality as compared to the lowest income municipality in the region. So again, this is really just based on specific data sets that we took no objection to those. And then finally, the last factor is land capacity. And each of these is represented as a percentage of the total share of the region. It's a little complicated, but I think it makes sense how we got this number, why we decided to get this number, why we strove to get this number down, and where we ended up where we were. So the land capacity was measured by DCA as just kind of like clumps of developable land throughout the township. It does not mean parcels that could be developed. It didn't have to do with the zoning of it. It looked at things like, whether it was already developed, whether it was a right-of-way, what the land use was, because it's really only supposed to consider vacant land, which can mean, an open space parcel, because vacant means, like, for example, if it's because it's based on land use land cover data from NJDEP, and it gets very granular, and it's rather inaccurate, because they were doing this from Trenton, and they were trying their best, but you're doing this, and you're doing this with environmental constraints too. You're doing this for the whole state. They could not look at every spec of every town. So that's where we stepped in with Keith Kipp's office, with a lot of help from them, and we did a thorough review of that data. And if you look at the bottom here, they indicated that there were 175 developable acres per that strict definition in the township, and we reduced that to 44.7. By going through and seeing this is classified as vacant, but it's actually the township. It's a water tower, things like that. It's a sewer pump. So, and that's just one example of some of the things that we did there. So this council adopted a resolution 25-763 in January and accepted the present need number of 170. And this was a binding resolution and sought to reduce the prospective need from 314 to 265. And the 265 is the equivalent percentage reduction of that land capacity factor for the whole region and all of that. So we had to submit all of this methodology to the state and all of our details of our recalculation and the methodological errors. Methodological. I think I got that. So that was where we ended up with initially, as of January, binding resolution 265. However, again, going back to the timeline that was set up, once that was out there, that meant that it could be challenged. It could be challenged by any interested party. In some municipalities, that was the Fair Share Housing Center, which is an advocacy group in South Jersey that was really like a watchdog for this throughout the state. Fair Share Housing Center did not challenge our number. However, the New Jersey Builders Association did. This is basically the trade association that represents mostly residential home builders, but really developers throughout the state. And they challenged not just East Brunswick, they challenged every municipality who had proposed recalculating their number. So it was sort of like a blanket challenge across the board. Because of that, we proceeded through the Affordable Housing Dispute Resolution Program, and this involved a settlement conference held with with retired Judge Jacobson, who was kind of the mediator there. We had a special adjudicator. Formerly in the last round, they were called special masters. Those are professional planners who are experts in affordable housing. And so, we kind of made our case to them. We were on the call with the Builders Association representatives at certain points, and we did not reach a settlement there because the Builders Association was not willing to give. They wanted the full 314 units, and we said we don't think that that's appropriate for the reasons that we stated. So we had to go back. We had to wait for the judge to make a decision, and Judge Jacobson came back a couple weeks later with the recommendation for 296 units. So higher than we had hoped, but still lower than the 314 that we had initially been given. And this was confirmed by Judge McCloskey, who's the Middlesex County Mount Laurel judge. And then we finally got that confirmed number on April 24th. Bless you. So just go to bottom line, final obligation for the fourth round. Present need of 170, prospective need of 296. And these numbers at this point, barring any sort of major policy change, these numbers are fixed. These are what we're going to be working with for the remainder of this round. So how are we going to meet that? And here is our compliance strategy that we are proposing here, 2025 to 2035. Present need, as I stated, is 170 units. This is the rehabilitation obligation. This is done, in the past, it's been done largely in collaboration with East Brunswick Community Housing Corporation, where they provide, and Susan's here, and and she does they do a lot of incredible work with East Brunswick Community Housing Corporation that has set this township, honestly, really put the township ahead of the game, many other municipalities, in terms of provision of affordable housing in past rounds and setting us up on a great foot for the fourth round. So they do some rehab there. And then there's also, as of the third round, the township is partners with the county to provide the housing rehabilitation program. And this is a Middlesex County program. It's actually run, the administrative agent is another affordable housing administrator nonprofit, I believe, that does that. And that is something that is eligible to all township residents. I'm not sure if there's income limit, or if they're eligible for the income limits there or whatever is needed. And that really looks at replacing major systems in the home. So, part of this is that over the 10 years, 170 units for rehabilitation is not, we don't think that's going to be a problem, and just, encourage the council, encourage everybody to ensure that these programs are, made public as much as possible. And also we'll keep an eye out as new things come into play, because there is some money, not so much for rehab, but the state is aware that there's a lot of units that have to be created and maintained and rehabilitated in the next 10 years. So that's for the present need. And then prospective need, the future. So 296 units. On top of that, we continue to provide realistic opportunity for 73 affordable units on inclusionary sites from the third round. These are tracks on Cranberry Road that were rezoned at that time, and that have not been developed, but we, given the current conditions and just, we don't see any issue with keeping them as is, and we continue to meet our obligation, because again, the township has to provide the realistic opportunity, and by rezoning those, that's providing the realistic opportunity. So we are in continuing compliance there. Again, as mentioned, there were also 63 credits that we identified that were over and above the third round plan, which I have listed up here. 13 of those were supportive and special needs rental bedrooms. So that's a total of 26 credits, and we'll go into the bonus credits that are available as well. Then there is Market to Affordable Family Rentals, which is a program of East Brunswick Community Housing Corporation, in which they purchase units that are for sale, and they deed restrict them and convert them to affordable rentals. So there was a requirement for 48 units to be acquired as part of the last round. And as of the time of 2016, I believe that they had acquired 38 of those, and so there's been another 20. I think there's 21. One more is in the works right now. So so there was over and above the third round requirements. Extended affordability controls for the Commons at Kingswood Station, and there were 4 extra inclusionary units were constructed at Legacy Place as part of the redevelopment. So 63 additional credits. And then we're going to go through the rest. We have various compliance mechanisms, such as some of those are listed above, and then we have the new proposed sites. We are going to be talking about very generally, because they're in the plan.
I don't think we should be talking about proposed sites in public.
I will leave this to you. It was discussed at the planning board meeting, and it's public record.
All of it came out of the planning board.
Yeah, well, I don't think it should be public yet, but if it's already out there, it's out there.
Joe, you have a comment on that one? We can,
So it's the housing element infrastructure plan has already been filed with the state because the planning board adopted it. So it's readily available. It's posted online. Nothing in there is really confidential in any way.
thank you.
Yes, and we do have one change that I'll discuss from the planning board, but I will say that the sites that we're going to be discussing tonight, everyone is, they're aware. This is not a surprise to the property owners who will be going forward. So just before we go into this, just briefly talk about bonus credits. This is something that you're going to see up on the screen. And it's a little complicated, but the bonus credit structure was changed from the last round. Previously, the big winner was that if you had a family rental unit, it was a 1-for-1 bonus credit. They got rid of that in the new legislation, but they gave you a ton more bonus credits if you can figure out where to use them. We're doing very well with bonus credits. We actually are maxed out because you can only, you do up to 25% of your obligation. So 74 bonus credits are available to the township, which means that 296 units minus 74 bonus credits means that for provision of 222 new units, you're actually getting credit for 296. So, well, that's included in that calculation.
Yeah.
Yes. So we'll talk about how these apply, but special needs housing, supportive housing, market to affordable, 100% affordable. And then there's a lot of opportunity for half credits for redevelopment of commercial sites and sites within a half mile of transit, et cetera. So there also is some requirements for unit types. And I put this up here now because this is something, again, where we do have some flexibility over the next few months as we work on confirming the plan. There are a lot of unit types that are available within the sites that I'm going to talk about. Only a few, but and as long as we stay within these parameters, then there's flexibility for what can be provided. For example, for sites where we may be proposing it for now, we think it may be family affordable rentals. We have enough family units in this plan that those could be able to be subbed out if the opportunity presents itself with veterans housing or some other type of supportive housing or special needs housing. So that's just different. There's a lot of options here as long as we are within these thresholds. And as of now, we well exceed these thresholds. So, and it's really the idea, but with all of these is that you have rentals available and that you make sure that towns have some availability for families. And that is not an issue here with the plan in place. So going through some of the compliance mechanisms, some of these I already discussed, but the extension of affordability controls was done for Kingswood Station. There were nine units that were not extended in 2016 that were identified, and those were extended. So that means that those for sale units will remain affordable for another 30 years. Market to affordable program, again, Community Housing Corporation, 10 have been done so far as the surplus, and we're proposing 10 additional over the 10-year period of the fourth round. So that will be a total of 40 credits that are available there. Supportive and special needs housing, 13 have been provided. And as I just said, and as I have it listed on here, that's 26 credits in total. And there's the potential, we don't have any listed in the plan right now because we're not aware of the specific opportunities, but if there's the potential for additional bedrooms, additional units, additional developments of this type as the plan is formalized. Compliance mechanism, assisted living facilities. These, since I think about 2002, all assisted living facilities in New Jersey are required to set aside 10% of their beds for Medicaid patients. And those beds are considered as part of meeting the municipality's affordable housing obligation. So since 2017, Care One, which is when the last plan ended, last plan was prepared, Care One has been approved and constructed, 10 credits there. Brightview has been approved, 10 credits there. And then the East Brunswick Assisted Living, which was formerly CSH, which is now, I believe Benchmark is the new operator's name, there before the zoning board for amended approval, but we have every inclination that they will continue with that project. So 30 credits were available through assisted living facilities. And again, if any other ones come to the town over the next 10 years, those would also be eligible for additional credits, either for the next round or the fourth round. Then here we have a proposed 100% affordable development with a municipal contribution. This is something that is just in the beginning stages. This would be, the township would be collaborating with a nonprofit developer to provide approximately 26 units, between 25, 30 most likely. As of now, the proposal is townhouses on the former 6th Street bus terminal site. This site is located in an industrial zone right now, but it's adjacent to a residential zone. And actually, there's a stream corridor in the rear that really provides a huge buffer from industrial uses. So that's a good opportunity for, being able to connect it more to the community and not, putting an industrial use here, which currently, on current zoning, it could go there. So this would be a 100% affordable development with, the municipality would sponsor it, and that they would be working with the nonprofit developer to give the land, and that entitles the plan to double bonus credits. So if it's 26 units, that would be 26 bonus credits for 52 in total. So that is this is something that details will be coming into place. We will have to, there'll be many other, for this project and anything else that comes to fruition, all of these will have to be rezoned, which would entail, full public hearing before council, planning board, everything. So this is just very, very initial phase of this process. And none of this is, no actions being taken to do this tonight. It's just our proposed compliance. Second is more inclusionary zoning and redevelopment. And this is where we do have one change from the plan that was reviewed by the planning board. We have eliminated one site that was proposed for inclusion then, which was the Route 18 lumber / Plaza Hill office building. That is no longer considered to present a realistic opportunity at this time and will be replaced. One option, we have not formalized this via zoning, nothing's proposed to be changed, would be potentially Ferris Farms over on Cranberry Road, which there was prior interest in that for a townhouse development, something like that. So that is a potential site that would be included for inclusionary zoning. And then the other two sites that we have would be the Brunswick Square Mall, potential residential redevelopment, and the Arisa property on Main Street, just west of 18, behind the development that was part of that was constructed in about 2020, 2022. So again, all of these are at the very nascent stages of what would be there. Our goal is that all development will be it will all be complementary to the surrounding area. It will be, the density will be appropriate for the sites, and it will still, in combination, provide approximately 120 units, 45 bonus credits, 160 credits. And this is, this is kind of the something that will be, this is, you'll see this, whether it's a redevelopment plan for the mall, this is something else that will come way before the council several times. So there is a lot of opportunity for both public comment for all of these parcels, and everyone will, it'll all be part of the public record, what's going to go here once that's determined. And to be honest, we don't really know what that's going to look like until we get this plan formalized and see if we have any challenges to it, but this is what we are proposing now. So the density is to be determined, and the set aside is to be determined if they are inclusionary zones. So that is really the summary of what we have. So if you look up here, this is everything that I just went through. I know it's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of numbers. If you look at, for example, the bonus credit table, that doesn't add up to 74, but we're capped at 74. But that is really the summary of where we are, what has been done so far, what we are proposing, and what the next steps will be. So, if happy to answer any questions, whether about, where we are right now, what this the council is doing tonight, or what needs to be done in the future. So thank you all for your time.
Council, any questions?
I have one.
Yes, you have
So
10.
in the timeline that you presented, you were talking about from now until March of 2026, right, going forward. Like the challenges, what would be some of the challenges that would potentially that we would have to face?
Sure. So
Yeah.
it would be similar to, in some ways, it would be similar to the similar parties that challenged their numbers earlier. So we anticipate maybe the New Jersey Builders Association, maybe Fair Share Housing, maybe a separate developer. You know, like as an example, there's some towns that had more developers interested in properties than they had units that needed to be built. And basically what these groups, whether it's organizations or developers, they're gonna look through the plan, see if they can find flaws, whether that is, some may be in good faith reviews, some may not be. We'll see what it turns out like, and then they have to file a challenge in due time stating what they think the plan's deficiencies are. And then we'll go through that process again with the dispute resolution program, the judge, et cetera.
So one and done doesn't work, right?
No.
All right, thank you. That was
Sure.
helpful.
The, Ms. Keller, the presentation was outstanding and overwhelming. I don't know how you retain all that information, but
With much difficulty.
it's a credit to your professionalism.
Thank you.
I did want to recognize we have quite a few people in the audience who have a interest in the welfare of our community, and they would be Susan Fine from the Housing Corporation, Wilbur Pan, Mary Pan. Wilbur is a Board of Ed member, and Mary's part of the Planning Board. Mr. Larry Sachs, who was an attorney for the Planning Board, Charlie Heppel, former president of the chairman of the Zoning Board, Keith Kipp, who you mentioned quite frequently, and I hope I didn't leave any. Oh, I see Jeff Smith from the Zoning Board. So we see a lot of people from the community who have a vested interest in the direction that we're going. My questions were all answered. So I was very serious about veteran housing as this all comes to fruition. Special needs housing. And there's no one who's going to disagree with me on those two issues. The bonus plan that you talked about at our planning board meeting, as well as tax subsidies. And the only question that resonates is it's going to be the public relations portion of this plan here in East Brunswick to make sure that we comply with not just these numbers because they're numbers, but for the welfare of the community. I would like to ask, though, if we could get a hard copy of the PowerPoint presentation. I'm looking at Mr. Kipp. If each one of the council members could have that in their notes. So whenever you get around to that, that's not tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But again, thank you very much, Ms. Keller.
Thank you for your time, Council President.
Oh, Mayor, I didn't see you.
Thank you, Council President. Again, thank you for the presentation. You heard a good portion of this the other day at the Planning Board. As most of you know, some of you have been through this the last round, so this is a controversial topic, as Kate said from the very beginning. It is hotly talked about throughout the state. It is hotly talked about on social media circles here in the township, and the decisions that we make, which is only the start of this now. Eventually, you're going to have to decide on the zoning changes for whatever plan we go ahead with. This process is just very difficult to understand, and it gets very often complicated and misinterpreted in the public. And I don't think that the biggest issue people have is with the need for affordable housing. Anybody that has a kid coming out of college and wants to try to live in New Jersey or just tries to upgrade and move into New Jersey, it's a very expensive state. I think the biggest problem they have is the number of full-price units that come in when a builder sets aside a percentage for their affordables, and then we bring in the full-price units, and now we're talking about a large number of apartments that are coming into the township, and that's what gets everybody, I think, upset. As I mentioned earlier, there's things that the state could have done that they don't do that I think puts us in this position, most towns, not just East Brunswick, where they could have looked at people that no longer qualify for units, and we don't do a good job of doing that. So people who are in units and no longer really meet the income requirements, we don't do a good job of following up on those individuals and allowing them the opportunity to leave and make those units available to people that qualify. But that all having been said, we have a phenomenal housing community housing corporation here that has done this almost back to the beginning of the Mount Laurel decision in 1975. I think our housing corporation's been around about that long. And while it may not have started for that reason, it started because of the Victory Gardens, but ultimately it served the purpose of helping us provide affordable housing and keeping our number very reasonable and in a way that gives people who need these units dignity, that the whole world doesn't need to know where they are, who they are, where they're living. And they've done that seamlessly for decades. And so that we owe them a debt of gratitude. When you look at other towns that are similarly sized to ours, if you looked at the fourth round obligation that came out, they were significantly higher than what our obligation was here in East Brunswick. Same thing, by the way, for the third round. Some towns argued and went to court, and such as, well, I'm not going to name the towns, but, and they were penalized for having done that because they weren't keeping up with their obligation. And so when you look at our number and really look at that massive spreadsheet, the number that we have, well, we will do what we're obligated to do. And I think that we're here really to start that first process right now with the simple adoption of this plan that will be worked on over the next couple of months. But we absolutely, under no circumstance, want to be in a position ever where builders who already demonstrated to us that they weren't even happy with the 265 that we thought was reasonable, they couldn't agree with that, took us to court. Not going to ever let the builders have control of this township by going to builders' remedies, which essentially allows them to go to the court to contest anything that we don't agree to, and then bypass entirely our land use boards, which I believe have done a phenomenal job of making sure that we keep to our obligations and keep to our master plan. That's their role. And failure for us to adopt this tonight puts us in a position of allowing builders to come in and do basically anything they want in this township. I can't imagine how you would want to do that. So thank you again for your presentation and for explaining this complicated topic to the public.
My pleasure.
Mr. Crisculo, any final thoughts? Because you did play a big role in this whole process.
Just really a big team effort, including you, Council President. When we did have to appear in court, hats off to Kate too. Sometimes we found out at 3 o'clock one afternoon that we had to be in court the next morning at 10, and then we found out that they changed it to 1:30. You know, we're all sitting around, and it was nice that we got the support of the council president. I think that helped out with the special adjudicator that, you know, we had administration there with our planner, and that the council president was in presence. So I think they were impressed that not only that the administration and our planner, the mayor and the governing body was actively involved in making sure of this. The one thing that I also want to point out to the general public, affordable housing is not Section 8 housing. That often gets confusing with people. There's not housing vouchers, there's none of that goes out. I know Kate knows various, the distinct difference of this. The importance, once again, as the mayor said, getting this done tonight, is we have a June 30th cutoff date. Tomorrow, hopefully, when this gets approved, Joseph will take the approved resolution and the adopted plan that we have before us, and we'll submit it to the court as follow-up to that. And each one of these organizations, these watch groups, are sitting there waiting to look at that, and they're also sitting there waiting to see who doesn't submit it on June 30th. Now, I know quite a few other towns have submitted their plan. Joe and his team at Hoagland have done 4 or 5 of them already, so I'm confident they'll get it submitted tomorrow expeditiously, because he knows I'm going to call him about 2:30 to ensure that it is, and I'm going to want the receipt. But just thanks to everybody on the team, the planning board, Mr. Sachs, naturally the mayor, and you, the council, that's also been very supportive and seeking to be knowledgeable on this topic. It is a difficult topic. I mean, I've been doing this job for over 20 years, and I've gone through this process in 3 different municipalities. So that's all I have to say. And once again, thank to everybody for their support, and everybody in the room that I won't mention again, but it's arduous.
Council President?
Yes, please.
I thought that was a terrific presentation. It clarified a lot of questions I've always had about the process and what was going on. I don't want to belabor this issue because I know it's a presentation, but I do think the public might just want a brief explanation of how these properties are identified as the planning board. How do they come about deciding which properties are ones that they want to seek out for redevelopment?
Sure. So the only properties, there's really only 3 that are part of this plan now. The first, with the mall, the Brunswick Square Mall. There, as far, I don't know the details of it, but I know that the property owner was interested in pursuing a mixed-use development there. We started off by declaring it an area needed redevelopment earlier this year. No redevelopment plan has been, proposed, nothing like that. So there's still, a lot of debate, not debate, but, there's still a lot of details that will be ironed out there, including, how much of the site will be used for residential, like what kind of residential that might be, whether it'll be inclusionary, whether it'll be some kind of supportive housing, something like that. But so there's a lot of options there. The Arisa site on Main Street, that was also something where the property owner was interested and approached the municipality. They approached us with what they wanted on the site. We said, okay, we'll think about it. But we think it's an appropriate site for affordable housing, and we'll be working with them over the next few months to, see what work on a density, what this exact set aside will be, et cetera. And then finally, there's a few other sites that we had looked at around the township. And initially, we had looked at some on Route 18, just because it's centrally located. That has that's been eliminated at this point. We're gonna have to formally amend the plan in the next couple of weeks, but as long as we hit this June deadline, we're fine. And again, no formal action. And I believe the owners of Ferris Farms, they had previously been interested in redeveloping it, and that under a different developer. That person, as far as I'm aware, they are no longer involved, but the property owners also are interested in pursuing this. So that's how those came to be. So we feel confident that those are, we're going to have a cooperative process in setting forward, how they're going to be rezoned.
Thank you.
Sure. And I would also note, and this goes to what the mayor stated, those are, as of now, those are the only properties where we are proposing inclusionary, which means, about usually 20% set aside. So, and that's only about half the plan. So the remainder of the plan as of now, and there's room for to change this even more so, can be met without, that type of inclusionary development that gives you 4 market rate units for every affordable. So I think that was a goal. And also looking at, not focusing on, developing big greenfield sites, open space, things like that, really focusing on redevelopment as much as possible per the state directives. So,
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Kelly.
Sure. Thank you all. Appreciate
Okay.
your time.
Thank you.
And our audience, you guys can skedaddle if you choose to, or you can hang around for our continued lesson in governance. Having said that, we're going to move on. We're good? Everybody good? Okay. Council, we have an ordinance for a second reading and a public hearing. Township Clerk, please read ordinance number 25-24 into the record.
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 135, Article 9, health spas and related uses, and Chapter 228, zoning of the Township Code.
And may I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
And a second? Second. I'll now open this matter to the public. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address the council president on this issue? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. And roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicky?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Moving on to our reports section of our meeting. Mayor Cohen?
Yes, Council President, thank you. Two quick things. One, as school year comes to a close, many people know that we start to ramp up our road work that we're doing in the township to include some of the roads that we would deliberately held off because of the fact that we didn't want to interfere with busing and transportation of students. Now that the school year's closing, you'll start to see more of those roads being done now. And finally, since it is the close of the school year, I wanted to wish my hearty congratulations to all those who are part of the graduating class of 2025. So, congratulations.
Township Business Administrator?
I have nothing else to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our Township Attorney?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Township Clerk, Ms. Lawful?
Nothing to report.
Okay, committee, council committee or board reports? Yes, please.
Just real quick, we have a few resolutions for tonight. That was a highlight of our last meeting. Doing 1 basketball court and 2 tennis courts at Pine Ridge Park with a new material that has a 50-year structural warranty. So that's something that, you know, is definitely going to benefit the township. And as well as that same material is going to be used for Lenape Park in also doing the tennis courts, and there'll be a pickleball overlay on it as well. And just one other piece, the Country Lane Playground that we voted on a while ago, the equipment has been removed, and it is, or is in the process of being removed, and it is slated to start with the new equipment right after the 4th of July.
Thank you.
Council President.
Please.
What is this new material we're using?
It's like a concrete is how they describe
Post-tension
it.
concrete.
Oh, it's not new. We did.
Well, new for us.
No,
Like,
it's not.
We've used it in a couple other
Yeah.
spaces, and we've had successes with
Yeah.
it. So, post-tension concrete, Jimmy.
Yeah, okay. I didn't think, I was surprised if we were moving away from the post-tension based upon the success we had.
No, it's been working out good. We had a couple cracks, and it
Okay.
was easier to repair
Yeah.
and so on. So we're going to continue on with that,
Okay,
especially
great.
over at Lenape.
Both parks are getting the overlay for pickleball?
Mhm.
Oh, good.
Both, yep.
We're getting the best stuff.
We are.
There we go. Okay. I'll now open the meeting to the public. Ms. Lawful, could you read our public comment statement?
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond or not respond.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address the council president? Please.
Navaltafel, Tall Oaks Drive, East Brunswick. So I'm once again standing before this council to demand that East Brunswick immediately sever its sister city relationship with Yavne, an Israeli city complicit in apartheid, occupation, and genocide of Palestinians. It is appalling that many residents in our town don't even know we have symbolically tied to a city in a violent settler colonial Israeli regime. That silence and ignorance must end now. Maintaining this relationship is not neutral. It is an endorsement of crimes against humanity. Israel is not just a danger to Palestinians anymore. It is a destabilizing force in the entire Middle East, and increasingly a threat to the United States itself. Our government funnels billions of dollars every year to fund Israelis' brutal occupation, ethnic cleansing, and now open warfare across the region, from Syria to Lebanon to Yemen, and just this week to Iran. Think about that. Our tax dollars are burning refugee camps, flattening hospitals, starving children in Palestine, and then killing them in hundreds every day while they line up to get aid. I am seeing videos of Israel literally using gun machine to gun down starving Palestinians who are in line to get food, and they are starving. So this is so these people who live in Yavne, maybe they are part of that IDF, because apparently every Israeli needs to serve in IDF. So they are all complicit in this. And now Israel wants more, not just our money, but the lives of our soldiers. This weekend, reckless, unprovoked attack on Iran, carried out with US weapons, is a terrifying sign of how far Israel is willing to drag us into this wars. Who pays the price? Not the Israeli government. It's American soldiers and American families with our taxpayer dollars. Iran is not our enemy. It is Israel's enemy because it refuses to bow to apartheid and refuses to normalize ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. While corrupt Arab regimes have sold their soul, Iran has not, and for that, it is targeted by Israel and USA. It is long past time to recognize what Israel has become: a rogue genocidal state, a threat to justice, a threat to peace, a threat to US. East Brunswick must not lend its name or goodwill to this regime. End this shameful sister city agreement with Yavne, cut all symbolic ties. Let's stand on the right side of the history with humanity, with justice, and with the people fighting for their freedom. And I really hope that I'm coming here every week. I really hope that you just take 5 minutes to just go back home and just see what's going on. And if that doesn't melt your heart to do something that's in your control, we cannot end the war, but we are just responsible for our own action. So Mr. McAvoy, what action can you do? Like, what is the thing that is in your power that you can do? Just do that. And we are all responsible for the individual actions. That's it. Thank you so much.
Anyone else wishing to address the council president? Please.
Tom Ingrasani, Deerfield Road, Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. President. I heard good news on the way here today. The war in Israel and Iran is going to be over, as per having reached an agreement, and Trump considers this war within the next 12 hours to be ended, and a peace agreement will be made. I don't know if you heard about it, but I was driving in, maybe you're up here. So that is good news. The other thing is, does anybody know when the High Point Diner will open up?
No, I don't think we have anything.
I know it's Red Robin closed down.
Right.
And, you know. And, I asked 2 weeks ago about that increase we're supposed to get in the electric rates of 16%. But the government of Jersey is supposed to give you credit every month for the next 6 months. What does that come out to? $100 for the 6 months? I mean, I don't know. Anybody know the answer?
Can't help you on that one, Tom.
All right, because I'm hearing all stupid things like it's going to be $30 for 2 months and then spread out till January, February. But, all right, I just want to tell you we had good news with the Iraq and, I mean, Israel and Iran.
Thank you, Mr. Ingrasani. Anything else for public portion? I'll close the public portion. Council, we have one resolution that's on us with a separate vote. Township Clerk, could you plead Resolution 25-218 through, we'll do that separately, right?
Resolution of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, approving June 2025 Housing Element and Fair Share Plan.
We have a motion to approve
Motion.
and a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Move on to the consent agenda.
Can we separate 25 to 19?
25-219,
Also 25-221 and 25-222?
I'm sorry, Dinesh.
25-221 and 25-222?
We have a motion for resolutions, I don't have the number in front of me.
220.
All of the,
Except for 219, 221.
except for 219, 221, and 222. Motion on that?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
And roll call on that?
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Get a resolution on 25-219? Can you read that?
Yep. Resolution authorizing a change order number 1 with Atlas Technical Consultant LLC from $150,000 to $250,000 to perform additional special inspections and testing services for the Township of East Brunswick.
Councilman Wendell?
Yeah, this stood out to me in a very big way. I mean, taking $150,000 special inspection technical consultant from what was originally deemed a $150,000 contract to now be looking for an additional $100,000 for additional work. After requests to Mr. Crisculo, I received quite a bit of information from Mr. Kipp in engineering. Subsequently, I had conversations with Mr. Kipp. And in my mind, it comes down to this. We are using our special inspectors in a completely incorrect manner. While they're doing the special inspections that they're required to, we are keeping these inspectors on site all day long to witness the installation of materials. That is not the role of a special inspector. A special inspector is to go inspect welds, bolted connections, not stand there while the welding is being done at 18 feet in the air, which they're not seeing anyway. Not to watch blocks being set. A special inspector is supposed to take mortar prisms and take them back to their lab and check them at 10 days, 28 days, and 56 days to make sure that they meet the compressive strength of the design. Also with concrete, they're supposed to inspect the soil before it gets poured. They're supposed to inspect the rebar before it gets, before the concrete gets poured. And then while the concrete is getting poured, they take cylinders and do what we call slump tests to make sure that the mix is not too thin, and also take the cylinders to make sure that it meets the correct compressive strength. Now, I've reviewed the daily reports, and I see that we've been having inspectors on site to inspect masonry, which they're not qualified to do. Most of these guys are just certificate-holding persons that went through a class to understand how to take mortar cylinders or grout cylinders or things like that. They're not qualified to inspect the work that's being placed. It's not within their scope of work, but yet we're keeping them on the job. No fault to Mr. Kipp, you know, but we're keeping them on the job. Sometimes, anytime they go on site, they're there for 8 hours. And then, if the masons continue to work another hour and a half, we're paying them for 9.5 hours, including overtime. It's my suggestion that we've overspent this account by $60,000, at least, just for having this manpower on site. Now, I equate that to two things. We are paying $170,000 or more, I don't know if there's been a change order or not, to DMR as the architect, design professional, to be a construction administrator. To which I've spoken to Mr. Kipp, we've only received one report from them. In all the time that this job's been going on, we've received one report. Construction administration includes change orders, RFIs, changes in the work, interpretation, and attendance at meetings, and monthly reports, at least on the progress of the work and the quality of the work. Instead, we've been trying to use this Atlas Technical to supplement them. And I can tell you what, they're not qualified to do that work. Now, in that regard, you know, me and Mr. Kipp spoke, and I expressed to him, and I believe Mr. Kipp agreed, that we should stop all of this all-day inspections and only pay those special inspectors for the amount of time that's necessary for them to be on site to take the do the necessary inspection or take the necessary concrete or mortar cylinders to test that all of this stuff meets the design compressive strength. So with that, and I'm satisfied to approve a change order based upon my conversations with Mr. Kipp, but at this point, I would propose that we approve. Now, we are already over budget, just so you know. We are currently at $169,000, which, by the way, if we're at $169,000 spent to the end of May, we've been using them since, so we've got another month. But my question to you, Mr. Criscuolo, is why was this not addressed 2 months ago when we were approaching exceeding this contract? Why are we being presented a change order after we've exceeded this contract by 30 days and we're $19,000 over budget? You know, why are we being notified now?
So, not to interrupt you, have you concluded?
Yeah, my conclusion is that
What do you want?
I would do $50,000 additional, rather than $100,000. I'd do $50,000 because at this point in the contract, or at this point in the stage of construction, I don't think we have that much more work to do as far as special inspections go. We're going to be pouring the 2 ice rinks, so we're going to have inspections for that concrete and the sub-base, and then we're going to be doing spray fireproofing. Those are the last 2 disciplines of special inspections that are necessary. You know,
Criscuolo, do you want to comment on the comprehensive
Well,
statement made by
what-
the councilman?
The first time that I knew we were over was when I received the email from the Planning and Engineering Department regarding the details for this change order today. So I was not aware that we were over at all. So, you know, that's the answer to one question. I would ask Mr. Kipp, who's here in the audience, you know, to weigh in on how much work is needed to complete the project. And, you know, we lost our engineer.
that gentleman was not qualified to do any work inside that building anyway. He's a civil engineer and not a structural or construction engineer.
Understand, but he was helping out.
So that means nothing.
Okay.
Don't even go there, Joe.
I'm
It's
just-
irrelevant.
All right.
He's not qualified to be inside that building. He's qualified to do the work on the outside.
Okay. So that was the first time I knew that we're over. So I'll ask Mr. Kipp for his professional advice on what has occurred, why the overage, and the request for the change order, and how he came up with the $150,000 he thought he needed for special inspection. He works in the industry, and where he got that number from, and I'll ask him too, as part of this, what is exactly DMR doing, what is exactly the inspector doing, and what exactly is the township doing? Keith? Yeah.
With the $50,000.
Covered, right.
Okay.
And throw in the inspectors, according to Councilman Wendell, who are not qualified, which I just find that one hard
Just
to-
on that, I had a conversation with Mr. Wendell, and he brought up some very good points. I would argue that they have much more qualifications than just taking cylinders. And with the proposal we got from Atlas, We have countless expertise and certificates and licenses. And I understand that we're over budget. That $150,000 number was given to me by DMR as an estimate when they prepared the plans and specs. Now, this, typically I deal with $4 million, $2 million paving programs. I'm really good with that. This is a $35 million building. I took their advice, $150,000, that's what they said we needed. I put it in the budget. About 2 months ago, I saw where we were heading. And I'm like, we're going to be over this $150,000 and we still need more inspections. So I asked the contractors, everyone, let's knock it off to whatever degree we can, which it turns out I can't. I need their certifications. We're doing welding, we're doing steel. The masonry is structural. There's rebar that's going in that masonry, so it's just not a matter of throwing block up. That's structural too. So
Understood, but they review that before the grout is poured. They can see where the
right, but I don't know if you've seen the speed that we're moving. That's why we need inspectors there. The contractor is really moving fast. But I do agree that it's winding down now. The main thing is fire protection, which I estimate we're about 25% through. So we're going to need them extensively, and I need that certification. It's nothing that my UCC guys can provide. I have to rely on this atlas to do this.
But the fire protection guy doesn't need to be there during installation. The fire protection guy, when he does his inspections, he sticks the probe in to check depth, and that's it.
Right, and we do spot sampling, but we
Right,
have
but-
extensive fire protection
But they don't need to
do.
be there during the entire installation process.
Understood,
Stand there
and I will do everything that I can to keep it down, but I need to get the certification at the end of the day.
So
So,
we can leave, Councilman Wendell, we can leave this as is, but move forward cautiously?
No, 50,000.
And
Yeah.
that can be changed right now?
That we can add another change order at a later date.
well,
and
that's
that's
my
what Keith
concern.
and I
that
spoke about.
I think I'll be back to you in 2 or 3 weeks, saying, okay,
Right,
we're over.
right, okay.
But,
Well, we're going to
I
stop.
appreciate Mr.
we're gonna
Wendell.
stop
He
the
has
8-hour inspection.
expertise in this, and he asked very good questions. And again, I'm at the recommendations of our architect. They have done these size
Mm-hmm.
projects before. I don't think they gave us a good number, but this is what I have to move forward with, and I
But
need these
they're shirking
inspections.
their responsibility off onto the special inspector, where, is in my mind, we're paying construction administration, we're not getting the work that they're responsible to do.
I will say that, and that's a good point. One of the things at the beginning of this, the architect wanted not just to do the construction administration, which is reviewing all the submittals for everything that we're building, which there's a lot. There's a lot that goes into this. Every single piece of equipment, every pane of glass, every piece of flooring, everything has to be reviewed and confirmed by them, which was overwhelming for my staff. We couldn't have done that. But they also wanted to do more of the construction management day to day, which, based on the design history, I didn't want to go down that route. I'd rather have my staff do as much as we can. That way, we're responsible for change orders, for whatever we go. It has to come through me, so that I can't just have, whether the contractor and the architect are on the same, I don't know. But I want to see everything that's going in, like I explained to you. I'm on the roof in the hot because I want to see what the roofer did. Now, we had special inspector for that too, but still, I feel I'm responsible for this project. I want to see as much of it as I can, and that's why we took on a big role in doing the construction management as opposed to the construction administration, which DMR is doing.
Well, they're not doing it because they should, when they attend the meetings and when they're on site, they should be doing a site review and giving you a report on a monthly basis.
I showed you the one report.
I know,
today.
one from December.
Once I saw the report, I said, well, I don't need the reports anymore because I'm here every day. I know exactly what they put in the report. But what I do need them for is to review all the complex machinery and equipment that goes into that. I really have
Yeah,
to
but at the
rely.
end of the day, we're overpaying for them then if they're not performing the entire scope of work that is required under construction administration.
I will say it's been a challenge too, pushing DMR to keep up with us. Like, guys, we're at a point where we need your approval
get
to
it.
move forward.
And I appreciate your diligence on that. I really do.
So, okay, at this point, we're not gonna move on $50,000. We're gonna just be a little more cautious when it comes to the.
No, well, I would propose that we change this resolution not from $150,000 to $200,000, not from $150,000 to $250,000. We're already over budget by $19,000. that's been billed.
Still, we have language that's written here. I want to
So
live with the language that we have.
We can change it.
I don't want it changed.
Okay,
You
well,
want it changed.
Yeah.
I don't want it changed.
Okay.
This is a document that's been put together by our professionals. You've come out with this and that and this and that. That's your opinion, and we respect your opinion. As the council president, I'm not going to change this right now.
Okay, I move the table.
You're going to need a
A second.
second
Yeah.
and a vote on it.
Yeah.
Council,
Go ahead.
Council President, and I'm going to ask,
There's a motion on the table already.
that's true. Go ahead.
Got a motion?
It's motion, you have a motion and a second already.
You have a second already? Who's second?
I second.
And who did, who?
I made the motion.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
No.
Councilwoman?
Oh, wait, this is on the
This is
motion
on
to
the
table. I'm
motion.
sorry, it's a yes. The motion to table.
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston? Yes to table?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambiki?
No to table.
And Council President?
No.
I think that was a very unreasonable request by you, Council President. I was willing to meet them halfway and provide money to continue to move forward.
Yeah, at the 11th hour, Jim, you know.
When did we receive this?
Oh, I don't know. You know,
Friday?
This is.
And I asked my questions today. Because, what, come on, what? If I would have received this 2 weeks ago, you
You're
would
not
have...
going to get it 2 weeks ago. You're going to get it on a Friday. You're going to get it on a
Okay,
Thursday.
well-
And you got it.
And
You didn't accept it. And so I said no to your arguments. And then we move on. That's it.
Okay, well, now we can't do any special inspections.
Council President, may I
Please.
now?
Please.
We're basically stopping the project, stopping construction. Stop, he's going to notify the contractor, right? And Keith and Joe, help me out here, that now we can't do any inspections, period. So he's going to notify terminal that basically a stop work, and they're
Well,
going to
he's
say,
not, he
what?
doesn't need to notify Terminal, he needs to notify AEL. They
Excuse
can,
me?
or
Atlas.
Atlas, and they can continue to do work until such time as they need a special inspection. As required by the specifications.
When do you think they're going to need another, in your opinion, Keith? You're on site almost every day there. I see you there sometimes on Saturdays.
Yeah, I mean, as Councilman Wendell pointed out, we're already over budget. I'm in arrears to Atlas currently. The only other options I would have to continue the project were to somehow make Terminal pay out of their contract, which is coming out of our pocket at anyone. Either way you slice that, we're going to end up paying for it.
That's typically a contradiction and a conflict of interest to
Yeah,
have
it is. That's a conflict, really.
I'm saying
No, it is.
it's an
I
option, but
understand.
you know as well
I
as I
understand,
know.
and that's DMR, just so everyone knows. They set that in as a provision in the contract, and we said, guys, we can't do that. We have to
Right.
pull that out. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell Atlas that we got to hold off. It
So
could
can I ask
slow
a
things
question?
down.
Please.
So what is the consequence of stopping work at this point? Like, I would imagine there's some
Yeah. well-
fines involved or?
Oh, yeah, it's the schedule, it's a very aggressive schedule. We're looking at, just after the 4th of July, the ice builders, which is the actual under the slab, under the rinks portion is ready to start. So we're hurrying to get all the work underneath the roof over the ice rinks done so that we don't have to get in the way of the ice builder. So some of that may be pulled off because we can't do the fire inspections, and that may delay that. And Atlas, AEL was a relatively smaller company that was owned
I've
by
worked
some
with them
people
for
that I
years.
knew
They're
with, and they were
quality.
easy to work with.
Yeah.
Now Atlas is a corporation.
Yeah.
And there's no way, if I tell them that I don't have money for you, they're just gonna stop.
So what would you deem, in your professional opinion, is a number that maybe the council can consider, and the council president, I don't want to put him in a predicament, just to keep the project moving with the controls that Councilman Wendell has asked for? what, in your professional opinion, because I'd like to keep, Council President, I'd like to
But we
keep
can't
the
stop
project going. I know we're over, and please don't do that again. Please get, we got to keep tabs on them. They also have a contract with that not to exceed in it, so they should have been warning you, waving the flag that we're going over this. So I think they need to be given a little bit of a stern talk to. What, in your professional opinion, at least for now, to keep the project going, and then if we run into the predicament, you could have a conversation with Councilman Wendell of some of the situations you're running into, why you need additional funds to go there. So what is reasonable? I think Councilwoman,
Keeping in mind our next meeting, which is July 14th.
right, so we're like 3 weeks out. And the Councilwoman, I think when I asked the questions or responded to the questions you had asked, how much to keep does he think he needs to have, at least to keep the project going? And I don't believe that question was not answered.
Well, right now, I owe them money. They've exceeded the $150,000. So I would need probably $9,000 just to get current. What's that?
I thought it's 19, it's
It
269.
could be 19, yeah.
Yeah.
But moving forward,
I mean, listen, my suggestion is that, and this is why I was suggesting 50,000 when we spoke today. It gets you through the end of June with all your invoices and allows you to float into July and possibly early August and get you past the ice rink pour. And then we will have a much better understanding as to what the balances should be.
well, I feel at the $50,000 level, I would be back to you in a few weeks saying I need more money. So that's why I wasn't sure that 50 would cut it, but
Can we split the difference to get a resolution for you so you can move forward at 75,000 at this point?
No. Not as far as I'm concerned. I offered the 50 right off the bat, and the council president turned it down.
So Jimmy, I also agree that we should, with $75,000, that we should not stop this project at all.
It's not stopping the project. The $50,000 does not stop the project at all. Doesn't.
I would be
You need to
comfortable saying at
60,000.
75,000, you wouldn't see me back. At 50,000, you'd see me back.
But I'd rather see you back to get an update as to what's going on. Even if you came back on the 14th, you could report as to what changes were made, where we stand, and you'd have a much more accurate dollar value as to what was needed. If we do the 75 and you still come back in July saying I need more, I'd rather give it out in pieces.
So what I'm hearing is this could be very problematic for your project at this point. So I would like to make a motion to take this off the table and amend
Can we do that? It was
current-
tabled already.
Right, it has been tabled,
What?
right?
I think you can move to amend.
Amend, okay.
Right,
If it's been
I'm-
tabled,
and
if it's been
I- I
tabled,
was
we can't amend.
finishing that, but
You could take it off the table.
Yeah, I don't know what the Roberts rules is on this, but I don't think that the council members realized when they made their vote that this essentially halts the project. And I think that had you known that, you might have voted differently. So I think that there needs to be a mechanism in place so that we don't halt the project. And whether it's $50,000 or $75,000, I think we're splitting hairs on a $35 million project. It sounds petty. I understand what you're saying, but the vast majority of the issue is the 169 that's been spent so far that didn't have or didn't need to be there for the number of hours and may have been overbilled. We can't do anything about that. We can only do what's going forward, which is a much smaller portion of that total bill. So whether you did 50 or 75 right now, personally, I don't really care. I just don't want the project to stop moving. I don't want the ice people who've already planned on being out here for right after July 4th to be put on hold. So whatever you need to do to get this moving along.
I'm also concerned about potential penalty and fines.
And
That would
fines.
now increase this way past what we're looking at right now, potentially,
Penalties and fines for what?
for stopping work. I mean, isn't there, I don't have extensive knowledge like you do, but I have a
Well,
little
they wouldn't stop
construction.
work until there's a need for a special inspection. But
So what I'm hearing though from you, Mr. Kipp, is you're gonna need special inspections very shortly.
Yeah,
Okay.
tomorrow, I think they're gonna be outside.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But that's why I proposed the 50,000, so that we did not have any interruption in work. Keith and I talked about this today. I was on it probably by 8:30 in the morning, getting our packet on Friday. So there was no delay on my part. I did my research over the weekend and I requested the data I needed to understand what's going on. First thing Monday morning, Keith and his office, through Mr. Crisculo, were very, very diligent in trying to get me everything that they could so that I could review. And we had a conversation after that, and I indicated to him that I would propose that we change it to $50,000 at this change order. And Keith, well, maybe not ecstatic about that, understood, at least that's the way he represented it to me, and that we could continue to move. We didn't talk about stopping the
Will
job. There was no.
$50,000 get you to the next council meeting, July 14th, or are you gonna be in a predicament?
No, it will get me to the
And I
next.
know that Mr. Wendell said that we can float that, I'm not really sure how that works. Can you do that?
No,
That's my question.
$50,000 would get me to the next council meeting.
It'll
but then
get
I
you,
just
it'll
feel
get you
like I'd be
paid through
back.
June. It'll get you paid through June. Whatever the June invoice is that we haven't seen yet,
Right.
it'll get that paid, which is gonna give us another month to understand potentially what it is that we need
And how about,
to complete.
so why is the 75, just in case?
Because
You
he's
can't live
still,
with 75?
at 75, he still may have to come back.
Yeah.
So why not, let's just do the 50, keep the project moving,
Gotta keep
Give-
the project moving.
So I'm
gives
gonna
us-
ask this again.
gives us an ability to get an understanding.
Can you do $50,000 and we're not meeting till July 14th? Or is this conversation,
No, that $50,000 will absolutely help. It'll keep
Okay.
things moving.
But that
absolutely.
gives you $31,000 to get you to that
Yeah,
particular
to
date.
pay, to pay the,
Right.
to
Because
pay
you
the
gotta
June
pay the
invoice.
Just said,
19th, and
if
Keith,
more invoices will
the
come.
councilman is right. If we're getting close to that, this vendor needs to know that they had a not to exceed, and they should have, I don't know, kept us informed earlier that they were getting close to that $150,000. So I agree with Mr. Wendell 100%. So they shouldn't be sending you bills after the fact when they already exceeded their contract under local public contract law.
Well, I mean, you
So-
understand that they are a firm that bills by service,
Great.
so it's not a fixed rate. It never is with special inspections. You do,
It's hourly, right?
it's hourly plus it's
They're
by their
testing
service
stuff,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
by the test, it's hourly, by
Yeah,
trade,
and,
by
do
specialty.
they send the concrete out to a firm to get it?
They do their own breaks.
So do we know,
in-house.
do they know what their breaks are?
Of course, we get all those
What it
tests.
costs, I mean.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah,
they-
yeah.
they-
The
That's
break-
in their
the breaks-
bid, when they gave us
They-
the first proposal.
they-
The breaks
need
are
to
like
do it.
$18 a cylinder or something.
Yeah, but they need to do a better job of making sure that they don't exceed the not to exceed number and keeping you informed.
I don't
So that
disagree with that.
19,000, as much of as a shock to Mr. Wendell, it was also a shock to me, but they need to manage that. And when they're, a month ago, they should have been saying to you, hey, we're dangerously close to that 150 and not give us a bill when they've already exceeded it.
So I'm sorry, whose estimate was the 150? DMR or Atlas?
DMR.
So it's DMR's estimate. They put together the engineering plans, so I would imagine they would have a good idea what inspections needed to have been done they're
They did-
$100,000 off, at least, on that estimate.
Yeah, but they didn't expect that we were going to have inspectors watching all of the assembly and daily, hourly for installing concrete block and all of that. That's not in the normal scope of work for third-party inspections.
So I would like to make a motion to take this from the table in the interest of not stopping work and getting this accomplished, and revising Resolution 25-219 to make the change order for an additional $50,000 and not
I
$100,000.
believe we need to do that in two votes.
2 steps, yes.
Okay, so motion,
Take it off the
okay.
table
Right.
and then a vote.
So, off the table.
Motion to take it off. Okay.
Second.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Don't go anywhere.
Now you need the second motion.
No, we're roll call, they need a roll call.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zindicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes.
So now a motion to amend 25-219 from $150,000 to $200,000
Motion approved.
on the additional special.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zindicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Motion for Resolution 25-221.
I just have a question.
Yeah, why don't we
Council
answer?
President. So, from May to September, our township ordinance only allows 2 firework display per month. And township celebrates 4th of July with firework display. So, we should only allow 1 event for the month of July.
The township one doesn't count.
Yeah, but again, technically, the 3 will be too much for the residents. 4th of July, 6th of July, and 30th of July. Especially for the month of July, we should consider only 1 extra event beside township event. That's just my opinion, or,
It's been debated before, I think,
yes.
Now,
but shot down.
we have a maximum amount that occurs.
Yeah, there is a schedule, right?
We've debated this so many
I think we have a
times.
schedule.
Yes.
Yeah.
Certain months and
Right.
what goes on in the winter, not as much as what goes on in the summer.
From September.
I do think it's
From May to
much,
September, it's
but
2 per month, private
Yeah.
events.
And these are
These are
geared
two
towards
private
the private businesses that want to shoot the fireworks,
Correct.
whereas the township on July 4th doesn't count in terms of this
Right.
dynamic.
Correct. But we'll
didn't
still
we
three.
have, didn't we also have a period of time before the event that they needed to, make the proposal or make the, a minimum amount of time so that it could come before council at a, not at such a rapid pace of July 6th? I mean, I'm just asking for.
That's right around the corner, right?
Yeah, but I'm just asking, I thought when we did this, we proposed like you have to be in a month before or something like that.
Don't recall.
I don't.
Can we research, can we look into that and find out if there was anything within that fireworks ordinance that we,
Try.
I know Baker was working on that pretty extensively.
He might even recall. I'll give him a
Yeah,
call.
I mean, listen, I do think that the 3 is going to be quite a lot. I'm happy that you got the 4th and the 6th, because on the 6th, you're still going to be having other towns shooting off their fireworks. And the 30th, I think, is a, it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks later. I don't think it's that dramatic, but I do feel sensitive to the residents and agree with Councilman Bahal that we need to.
I think our attorney's trying to look at the code right now.
So, if I may.
You may.
Council President. Section 104-3 of the Township Code, subsection A. Only 1 firework display may be conducted within the township per month, except May through September, which shall be 2 per month. Historical uses, such as the beginning and the end of the Middlesex County Fair and the Township 4th of July celebration, or other township-sponsored events, shall not be counted in the above monthly totals.
Right.
And then,
That's what
Nothing about a timeline when?
I'm still reading the code, but if I can find it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, I think the 6th is rather quick, but you know, if they miss the deadline, they miss the deadline. I'm not in, you know, so, you know, concerned about it at this point, but I think if they did miss a deadline, we need to reiterate to them that, you know, there are specific timelines that you need to,
Our attorney will definitely look into it.
yeah.
Councilman Behal, you good on 221?
I guess if everybody's okay, you know, I still have concern that we'll have 3 fireworks. 4th of July is the largest firework, and then 6th and 30th in a month. We have people before in our council room requesting not having too many fireworks, but
Have we ever asked them to consider drones?
Yeah, John and I did a visit when they were going to test some drones to show us. Went nowhere with the management over.
Oh, they didn't do a...
No.
Because I mean,
Lasers as well as drones.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
You go to Rutgers, you know, at some of their football games, and they do
Unbelievable.
tremendous drone
But they were not interested,
displays.
you know, in deviating from the tradition.
No, I think that's something that we can move forward to in the
Right, we'll look
future,
into that one.
you know,
Get a
to
motion
try to make it less invasive on,
motion to approve 221.
so move.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal,
yes.
Councilman Wendell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicky,
Yes.
and Council President McAvoy.
Yes, I have a motion for 25-222. Is that the right one?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
And Councilman Behal, this was your,
I will say yes, but can we revisit this, and especially for the months when township is having an event, firework or fairground, can we restrict it? for
this is
2 only?
similar, it's another firework thing.
No, I know. I already said yes to the one.
Right.
What I'm saying, going forward, when 4th of July and another township event, can we restrict private event to one only?
Will have to be
Yes,
discussed.
going forward.
Yeah, I think that's,
If we can go
That's
into
a
closed
suggestion.
session and discuss
Yeah,
it.
with the suggestion, I will say yes.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal,
Yes.
Councilman Wendell,
yes.
Councilwoman Winston,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicky,
Yes.
and Council President McAvoy.
Yes.
Council President,
Please.
can I just make a comment? And remember, the Fair Association does 2 fireworks displays the week of their fair. So in August, do you not want any more fireworks? I mean, because it's not in our code as such, and I think it's dangerous when we deviate from that without going in and physically modifying the code. So I think, Joe, if you could, if this is the council's wish, could you draft ordinance change to change that? Or maybe, you know, discuss it. But I think, just to be aware, there's going to be 2 fireworks
It's gonna
shows
be.
for the fair.
That's
It's always been 2
contractual
shows.
obligation.
I think even before we do that, you know, if we understand if there's a filing deadline to, you know,
Yeah,
file for the
Joe will look
request.
that up for us.
You know, if we get that far and we find out that it's 30 days, I mean, you know, then we can, you know, we can understand and
Will do.
but the one thing we should do is like restrict it from those time periods. Like if the fair's doing 1 and 1, I mean, it's almost impossible for Orchard Park to do their own anyway. But, you know, we should restrict it to maybe a week away from either side of that in
Right.
some case. You know, so that at least
Because
you're not
even
doing
the
week after
30th
week
of
after
July
week.
is going to be pretty close to the 2
Yeah,
that the
yeah.
fair's going to do it.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I think that's getting really difficult for people to arrange because you've got the
You're right.
fair at the beginning of August, so they're
Yeah.
gonna do one the beginning at the end. And then you got July 4th, which is the beginning of July, and your ordinance says that you could do 2 of them on top of those.
No, I
So
agree.
fitting in those times, we deliberately allowed 2 for the summer. Kids are not in school, we didn't have to worry about waking up people and interfering with studying and all of that stuff. So it looks like we did that with purpose, and now we're ignoring it if we don't follow that policy. It is the summer.
Yeah.
And so those are the times where we were a little bit more liberal with letting these things go versus the school year and the winter, when it was, where we restricted it to once a month. So
Right.
just want you to be conscious
Yeah,
that fixing
I'm
a
just-
schedule around that
Yeah.
is not always so easy to do.
Yeah, my biggest concern was that the one is on the 6th, and I thought we had filing deadlines before the date.
That's different, then they,
Yeah.
then they need to be told that we have the
Because-
filing deadlines for a reason.
Yeah, I remember that there were times where we were getting it for a council meeting, it was the
For
next
that
Saturday.
next week, right,
I agree.
right,
So, I mean, this isn't too far off, it's 2 weeks away,
right.
so.
We do not have any ordinances for introduction for the good of the cause.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
4th of July
4th of July,
event will
and-
be advertised.
And happy graduation, what wishes to those graduating in the class of 2025. I believe you're twins, yes?
Yes, they are.
Congratulations.
On Wednesday.
Council, please signify with an aye for adjournment.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Good
Aye.
night.